Rodgers, he is a, quote, complicated fella. Those are the words that jumped out. So yesterday, on a golf Zoom, Aaron Rodgers sort of responded.
Yeah, it's been one of those quiet off seasons you just dream about, where you can just kind of go through your process on your own quietly. And, that's all you can ask for as an older player in the league and someone who's been around for a long time and just enjoys that time to yourself, to just relax, to not be bothered, to not have any obligations or anything going on. And, I think that's what this offseason has been about. It's been about really enjoying my time and spending it where I want to spend it and not feeling like I have to go anywhere, not having any responsibilities, but still being an NFL player.
I mean, the passive aggressiveness is just delightful, and you couldn't quite see it in that shot. But the T-shirt he's wearing said, "I'm offended." Jeff Saturday, your reaction?
That's the guy I know from Green Bay. Man, passive-aggressive at its best, right? I'm offended, taking little jabs. It's been such a relaxing offseason, Greeny. I've been to Hawaii with my fiance. I've hung out with my boys. I've done a little football when I felt like it. I don't do it when I don't feel like it. This is what it's all about. This is the life I'm living right now. It's my best life. So I love the comedy of this whole situation. Everybody says, don't talk about it in the public. Oh, he's a complicated fella. Here's my response. It just goes back and forth. You can just see this thing continue to build instead of getting dissolved. It is a just travesty to watch this thing play out if you're a Green Bay Packer fan. I can assure you of that.
I agree with you, and I'll come back to you on that thought. But Mike T., I'm wondering, as you're watching that, what thoughts are going through your mind?
Yeah, he's easily aggrieved, and I agree with Jeff. There's a lot of rhetoric going on, and we're in a situation now where there's, let's face it, increased sensitivity on both sides. Unfortunately, I've been there where everything is heightened. But come on, you're the league MVP, and what Mark Murphy said was inappropriate and certainly wasn't productive. But let's compare that with what happened with Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford goes in, sees the Lions ownership. They were able to get something done quickly and quietly. And if I'm Aaron Rodgers, just take the high road. You're an all-time great. You're the league MVP. You've been to back-to-back Final Fours. You're not offended. You're just trying to work out a business transaction.
Well, it's interesting because, I don't know that he doesn't think he's taking the high road. It's a complicated matter. And, Graziano, one of the things that complicates it, as Mike T is talking about, every other NFL team has an owner, has someone that you could go into, a boss who you could go into and say, look, I've got this issue here, let's work it out. Robert Kraft, Jerry Jones, we all know who they are. In Green Bay, they don't have that, so there's no one, if you will, to sort of be the referee in this dispute.
Right, and Mark Murphy fills that role in Green Bay, right? But
he's the one saying Aaron's a complicated fellow.
He's the one. Look, this is it's the high road is empty, but there's nobody. There's no cars on the high road. And honestly, the reason this is so great, for us, is if the scriptwriters for Real Housewives of Green Bay couldn't have written this, because every single turn of it, Aaron Rodgers is keenly aware of how he is perceived in public. You know that when he put that T-shirt on yesterday, it was intentional. Look, I'm coming in here. I think about what shirt I'm going to wear. Right? He knows he's going to be on camera. He knows how people are going to react, and that's what's going on right now. It's a back and forth. Neither side feels like it's actively working toward a solution. I know the Packers have said that they are, and they've flown out there to talk to him and all that, but right now, it doesn't seem like one is anywhere close.
So, Jeff, and we talk about the drama. It sort of is. Real Housewives of Green Bay is a pretty good way of painting the soap opera this is. So what do you see happening here, Jeff? How is this thing going to play out?
I think ultimately it's going to get to the season, and Aaron, as the competitor, wants to play. I think he's going to play. And I don't think he's going to come through training camp. I think all that will wait. But I think ultimately when it gets down to it, he wants to prove to everybody again, I'm the MVP. I'm going to be the MVP again this year. Jordan Love's going to steal the bench. I'm going to throw their plans in the trash can once again. It will build his brand, his persona even more, and I think he loves that. I think ultimately that's what he's waiting on. Come in, be the white knight, be the hero, go lead the Packers to a Super Bowl, hopefully, and then ultimately just tell the Packers, look, here's what your thoughts and plans were. I'm crushing your dreams and embarrassing you in public.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, Dan Graziano said right now that the high road is open. There's going to be a massive traffic jam sometime around Labor Day when there's going to be some inflection point and the worm's going to turn if Green Bay says, hey, we're not trading you, that if you want to play football this year, you're going to play as a Packer, or as Carson Palmer did a couple decades ago, you're going to sit out the year. Because, again, if you're Green Bay, this is important. your draft choice compensation is in next year's draft. So if I'm running the Packers, my deadline is really April of 2022, and I'm going to do everything within reason to convince them to play. So we could put on T-shirts, we could go to Hawaii, but around Labor Day, the competitive view, as Jeff alluded to, if you want to play ball, it's as a Packer.
That's a really good point. Dan, put a ribbon on this for us here. The next inflection point really is training camp.
It is. And remember, during the CBA negotiations last year, Aaron Rodgers kind of took over one of the meetings, and one of his arguments was he wanted the CBA to make sure the offseason program didn't start till August 1st. So this is a guy who never wanted to go to offseason minicamp in the first place.
I tell you, it's not about the interceptions, right? I know there was I think it was a ton of rain down there, like the conditions were bad. They were trying to push the ball down the field. All of those things, create issues for quarterbacks, and I get it. But the part that set this whole thing up is when he said he didn't really have command of the offense last year. And so I think what people do is we hear that, and then you hear, oh, no, he's struggling. Nobody talked about Jacoby Brissett had 2 interceptions as well, right? So they had 7 interceptions for their top 2 QBs. That's not a good day offensively, but it may have been something contextually that the offense was trying to do that they hadn't tried. But ultimately, I think it's when you put it all together, it's a bit concerning, right? Because then in my mind, as a player, I go, well, is he studying it now? Why does he have 5? And, that's the stuff that goes on. I think it's all because of the comments he made about the way he prepared for last season or the preparation that was there last season. And so that is the concern. It's not that he have a bad day. We talk about it all the time. We chart guys throwing and what completions in practice now, whether it's Jordan Love or, Fields or it'll be Trevor Lawrence soon. I mean, everybody tries to take shots, but ultimately I think it was because of the comments coupled with the bad day that people start to take notice of what's going on with Tua.
Hey, Jeff, we've gotten a couple of different interesting takes on this in New England right now, so I'm curious to see where you stand in this, because it depends on who you ask, but Cam Newton is the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots right now. Bill Belichick seems to be, talking very favorably about him this season. However, they do draft Mac Jones, and any reports out of camp right now, minicamp tells you like he's performed well. They really like him, and they're getting him ready to compete to be the starter for Week 1. So, where do you stand on this? Do you see that as a possibility, or do you feel like Cam's the guy, and they're just, like Mac Jones will not be ready for Week 1?
Yeah, so this is the most interesting part for me, is that when Tom Brady was there, we never talked about New England's quarterbacks. I mean, it was like, yeah, Brady's struggling a little bit. He's a little banged up, right? Now we got Cam Newton and Mac Jones, and all we get is praise out of Belichick and McDaniels. Oh, these guys, everything's good, man. They got the offense, the command of the offense. They're accurate. It's all these different things. I just find it a bit comical that that's the way it gets framed now. I will say I think Cam is going to be the guy early in the season, and that's not a slight on Mac Jones or what his future looks like in New England. I will tell you, when Bill thinks it's time to make a change, he'll make a change. Whether it's Week 1, Week 10, it doesn't matter. He's going to put the best players on the field to win and make the playoffs. He's not going to sit like they had to last year. I think from my perspective is from Cam's accuracy, right? He's thrown too many interceptions. Last year, I think he was eight touchdowns, 10 picks. I know he had the COVID stuff and kind of got set back with all the things throughout the season that were abnormal. But ultimately, Cam's going to have to continue to hold the job because they didn't bring Mac Jones in to continue to watch. If they're 50-50 or right neck and neck, I would think that Belichick will go with the younger to try to push this thing. But to me, early in the season, it'll be Cam's job.
Jeff, appreciate you as always. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much. Have a great one.
All right, Jeff Saturday. You can get more from him on Get Up starting at 8 Eastern. So coming up, every player in baseball mad at this same guy. Once again, the guy in charge. We'll discuss next. KJZ, ESPN Radio, and Sirius XM, Channel 80.
Hey, it's Greeny and the Nets do it. Playing at home, they hold